Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into some pretty profound advice that was given to a tour guide who was having a major career crisis. And it's one of those conversations that starts with a simple question about a job, but ends up tackling some of the biggest questions we can ask about how we ought to live. So it all kicks off with this one question. It comes from a tour guide working between Japan and Korea, and she is feeling seriously torn. She's asking, is this passion I feel, this mission to connect two cultures, is it for real? Or is it just a nice story I'm telling myself so I can justify my paycheck?
And look, this isn't just a simple case of the Sunday night blues. She is truly at a crossroads, stuck between what feels like her life's purpose and the very real, very scary practicalities of her work.
This slide just lays it all out so perfectly. On one side, you've got this beautiful mission, right? Connecting people, building bridges, having a real sense of purpose. But then you look at the other side, and that's the tough reality. The money isn't stable, there's actual physical danger to think about, and just this huge cloud of uncertainty about the future. It's that classic battle between your heart and your head. So what's the teacher's response to all this? Well, his first move is, honestly, kind of brilliant. He completely reframes what a job even is. He says, what if you stopped thinking about your job as just a job and started seeing it as a curriculum, one that's designed specifically for your own personal growth?
And he breaks it down into this really fascinating progression. It's not about climbing the corporate ladder, it's about the quality of the people you meet. So for the first 3 years, it's all about foundational learning, just meeting a ton of different people. Then, in the next 3, you naturally start attracting and guiding people of a higher quality. And that doesn't mean richer, it means deeper, more aware. And then after that, you get to guide people with the highest mass or energy. And that's what really skyrockets your own development. Your job literally becomes your school.
Okay, but why? Why go through all of this study? What's the end game here? Well, the teacher argues that this whole journey of growth is supposed to lead you to one thing, something he says is essential for any modern person, and that's a personal philosophy.
Now, when he says philosophy, don't go picturing some guy in a toga reading dusty old books. No. He means something much more fundamental. It's the simple, powerful human act of asking, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I here? It's about moving from just asking those huge questions to actually creating your own answers.
And this is the key distinction he makes. If all you're focused on is just making a living, just surviving, he calls that animalistic. He basically says humanity has moved past that stage. The real goal now is to evolve to a human focus. And that means understanding life, seeking answers, and building your own philosophy. It's the huge leap from just living on instinct to living with real intention.
Okay, to really drive this point home, the teacher does something wild. He takes a term we all think we know, welfare recipient, and he completely flips it on its head. This is where things get really interesting.
So before I show you his answer, just take a second. What does that phrase mean to you? It's probably tied up with money, right? Financial assistance. We'll get ready for a totally different way of looking at it.
And there it is, bam! A welfare recipient isn't someone who's out of money. It's someone who's out of purpose. It's anyone. Absolutely anyone who is lost, who doesn't know why they're alive. It totally redefines the idea of need. It's not about a lack of resources, it's about a lack of direction. And think about what that means. A CEO of a huge corporation, a president of a country, someone who inherited billions, they can all be welfare recipients by this definition if they're just going through the motions without a core reason why. This makes the search for meaning the most urgent thing for every single one of us, no matter who we are.
All right, so what's the big takeaway here? What's the actual practical advice for our tour guide who's feeling so stuck? And, let's be honest, for any of us who've ever felt that way about our work? The advice is actually incredibly simple, but so powerful. The answer isn't to run. It's not to immediately start looking for a new job, thinking the grass is greener somewhere else. The solution is to completely change how you see the situation you're in right now.
This is the prescription. Switch out that anxiety for gratitude. See your current job, with all its messiness and its challenges, as the perfect classroom for your study. The anxiety comes from thinking you're in the wrong place. But gratitude grounds you and tells you that you are right where you need to be to find your way.
So, step 1 is a conscious choice. Actively look for the joy in your work. Engage with it. Be present. Find something, anything that makes it interesting. Step 2, be thankful for this day. for the opportunity, for the people you meet, for the lessons you're learning, even the really hard ones. It just shifts your whole energy from a place of fear to a place of appreciation. And finally, the teacher makes a kind of promise. He says if you can do those two things, find joy and be grateful, you don't have to stress about the future. He says nature, or the universe, whatever you want to call it, will have your back. It will protect you. It will open up the right path for you exactly when the time is right. You just have to do your part. And that brings it all back to us, doesn't it? If a life without a why is a life that's lost, then it forces us all to ask that same question. What's my philosophy? What are the answers I've come up with for why I do what I do? It's a pretty heavy question, and a powerful one to leave you with.